Another walk with Instructor D. Which way you want to go? This shit's steep. So, first rule of business.
First rule of business is to train skills. Because that's something you actually can do, unlike worrying about all this other shit that you have no control over. You actually can control the development of your own skill sets. And the first skill set is going to be medical. Before you start training in anything that could cause an injury, you first need to know how to fix those injuries, first and foremost.
I would agree.
You get the right books and the right people together to train those things, and then you can train the other things, the wilderness stuff or other things. That's all I got to say on that.
For all the folks on the tube, it's a beautiful, 34 degrees right now?
Yeah.
And it feels like 24,
25.
25. Yes, we're out here doing that. Yes, we're walking around.
PT, good
PT.
for you, good for me.
Yeah, that's right. Especially with the broken foot. So if I can do it with the broken foot, I think y'all would be just fine.
Well, put the stick on the same side of the hurt foot and use that to assist.
You know, that's a gem of wisdom.
Yeah, take some of the pressure off that foot by putting more of it on the stick. Yeah.
Oh, I feel it today.
Yeah, use that stick to not have to step down so hard on the injured foot.
All right, so now meds out of the way, what's next?
Well, then probably wilderness skills. Because, you may never find yourself in a combative situation, but you might find yourself lost in the woods, so that would be... wilderness skills would be things like navigation, bushcrafting.
You ever been lost in the woods before?
Wilderness survival. I went to Fort Lost in the Woods.
Huh.
Yeah, spent
Imagine
summer
that.
there. Yeah,
I've been there a couple times myself, it's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I did a lot of push-ups there. And then after that, then you can get into probably the hand-to-hand and primitive weapons section. So train some hand-to-hand, some styles. And,
Have a stick.
And stick and knife work as well. Train that also. And then you can move up to more mechanical things.
How about avoiding, at many costs, the mechanical aspects? Like, what's that one little saying they got? A pound of prevention is worth
Oh, yeah, pound of cure, yeah.
Or an ounce of prevention, that's it.
Yeah, you win 100% of the fights you don't get involved in. And that's true. But sometimes other people don't leave you any choice. They bring it to you, and you didn't want it, but here it is. And
act appropriately.
So that's, you're going to be more, defensive in nature. But on that, I definitely wouldn't go looking for fights to start. That doesn't seem like a good idea, and will definitely get classified as some terroristy ass shit. But
you already are. You're an American white male.
But as long as you're,
oh my God, they got those here too.
Yep, Sasquatch. Yep. But but I mean, you train for, you train to defend yourself, but you don't want to actually be in that situation. You can avoid it.
Hey, I've always known that being a peaceful man is by far the best route.
Yeah.
I've just had enough situations where
100% of the fights you don't get involved in.
That was not an option because they didn't want peace.
Mm-hmm. But you also got to think about other skills like growing food and wilderness skills and medical skills and homesteading skills like canning and there's all kinds of skill sets you can develop. You may as well start developing them because when it comes time to do them, you don't want to be like flipping through books trying to figure it out then. You want to have already read the books twice through each.
So you're saying it might be smart,
already practice the skills with others.
A little bit of wisdom beforehand.
Because then you will already know what you're doing by the time you need to know.
Muscle memory.
You'll know from experience. You'll already have the fucking up out of the way and have already figured out how to fix that. And then you'll just be good to go on all those skill sets you develop. Just get a piece of paper and a pen out and write down what skill sets you would like to acquire and start acquiring them. And if you don't know and don't know anyone who knows, then find books that know and get hard copies of those books in case that internet gets sidelined.
Amen. Ain't that true?
Just
while we're here, I just want to show everybody About to go walking back up that.
You know, and you know, you're not going to be a fucking, you know, infantry person or any shit like that anyways, because you can't train 9 hours a day. You don't have funding for that much ammo to burn through.
Nor logistics.
Nor
yeah.
the logistics to support
At all.
it. There's no world-class medical people standing by. No airlift out. You don't have what they have. And so you're not going to be as good as they are unless you're like on a SWAT team or some shit. But
Or really well
know,
financed.
But yeah, somebody has to be financing you and having world-class medical on standby and airlift to it. You don't have that, so you should probably not be getting in those fights at all, period. You should be a fucking ghost in the forest. And in town, you should be...
tree.
And in town, you should be a concealed carry spy, going under the radar of everyone, not drawing any attention to yourself. You know, you're not going to operate the same way a fucking infantryman is. I mean, you're up against a completely different set of shit than an infantry is anyways.
How do you even know they're going to have the same ROEs?
No, I don't know. There's a lot I don't know, but I'm just saying.
I don't believe they will. I don't think they're going to follow the bullshit that we had to. I don't believe that at all.
I mean,
I think we're going to be a KOS situation.
I mean,
no matter what.
You can all do all the backwoods LARPing you want, but that's really not what you're most likely going to be up against. You're up against hunger, not having power to get water,
right?
Not having fucking somebody's hurt, not needing medical skills. Like, there's so much other shit that gets neglected over the bang bang shit. I know the bang bang
Just washing your damn hands, staying, keeping good hygiene,
disposing of waste properly, and shit like that. Like,
I had to teach classes on that.
There's so many people that want to prioritize bang bang shit over the shit you're actually much more likely to encounter. It's kind of sad. But, you know.
Well, what do they call that? The prepper fantasy, right?
Yeah, the doomer porn. Yeah, doom porn. Yeah. Where you're the lone badass in the wasteland and blah, 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 blah. And aren't I such a badass? And until...
Hey, I prepare to get smoked right off the bat, but at least I'll do it righteously.
And intelligence is watching all your YouTube videos. I mean...
I hope so.
You know, they...
Give me some views.
You know, I mean... Well, the only view is to take that good advice that all YouTube randos should take, which is shut the fuck up.
Oh, that's right.
Train skills quietly, grow food, get your supplies, and shut the fuck up.
That's such a good word of advice.
You're giving away way too much intel about yourself. We're the only part of the government that actually listens.
We're on a list now. You're on a list now.
You're gonna be spending more time doing homesteading shit.
What about morality, though?
Well, there's a lot of different moral philosophies, and some are religious, some are non-religious, some are, you know, kind of out there.
How would you treat that? Having people come in that are just randoms. You know, I mean, I believe there's going to be a lot of good people that are just in bad situations.
Yeah, there's never going to be universal agreement on
But if you're a shitbag...
But there's got to be at least some standard code of conduct. There's going to have to be a Bill of Rights as well as a Bill of Shared Responsibilities and some sort of standardized code of conduct. If somebody's too far outside that, then they're not for us, you know. So, I mean, no one's going to be an exact match, but, you know, people don't have to agree on anything. I mean, we have a right to disagree.
Right.
But if you're going to operate as a group, then there's going to have to be some semblance of consistency at least.
Yeah, and I don't favor the one fucks up, everybody pays the price. That's stupid.
Yeah, that's collectivism.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah, collectivism. Collectivism in some instances is a good thing.
Oh, we got a vehicle.
But collective punishment is a stupid thing. I mean, I get that it's trying to teach you that your actions don't just affect you, they can affect other people. But in that situation, you're artificially making it affect other people. And you could just explain, hey, your actions can negatively affect others, and they can learn it that way. But, you know, You could also lay out the grid of most rational, most moral versus the 3 other quadrants.
Okay, bring that into play here so people know what you're talking about.
Because you can make a square and you can divide that square into 4 equal parts, plus sign style.
So, real quick. We got the square.
And you got 4 equal parts.
Okay.
Upper right hand corner is that's the most moral and most rational thing to do in a given situation.
Okay.
Over here you got people who are moral but irrational. Down here you've got immoral and irrational. And over here you've got rational, immoral but rational, right? And you want to be in the most moral and most rational thing to do at 99% of the time. But there will be times you'll have to drop to the next one down, which is you're going to have to do immoral things but for rational reasons. You don't want to be in the other two. I mean, this person over here is moral but irrational. Okay, that's better than the one below it, which is irrational and immoral. And you have no use for that fucking person.
All right.
So, you really want to stay on the 2 categories on the right side, which is doing the most rational and most moral thing in every situation 99% of the time. But 1% of the time, you get into a combative situation. Well, in that situation, you know, battlefield type situation, you may have to do immoral things but for rational reasons. And that's an unfortunate position to be put in.
Well, we're human.
But
and the human game is wild.
But that's how you survive that battlefield situation, though. And so that becomes unfortunately necessary sometimes. But you really want to be in the upper right-hand box where you are doing what is most rational and most moral 99% of the time. That's the best people you can find for your group right there.
So we got that as a standard no matter what.
Yeah,
and that doesn't have to be
you
a
can always
spiritual
ask yourself,
or
what quadrant is this person reasoning in?
right.
You know, and there's some people who are moral, but they're just not very rational. Well, I guess that's better than some other quadrants you could be in. It's not the worst quadrant, but it's not the best one either, necessarily. Because most moral and most rational would be a better quadrant to be in.
True.
And the people that live in immoral and irrational most of their time, those fucking people just need to go.
Well, and there's also a prefabrication of trying to get a lot of people going from that top right quadrant to all across the board. I mean, look at what we're seeing now.
Yeah, well, some people have been indoctrinated into one of these quadrants.
There you go. There's a word.
And they've been mistaken, you know, they've been intentionally fooled and are mistaken themselves into thinking that that is the most rational and moral quadrant when it's actually not.
Right. And yet it's a commonality nowadays because of these things.
Yes, because ideas spread like mind viruses, yes.
I suppose they're not out spraying today.
But, you know, that's something to think about. But skills development over worrying about all the shit we can't control. There's a lot of things in the news we can get pissed about. And when you're done shaking your fist in the sky, screaming and kicking shit, and calling people names, it doesn't change a fucking thing, did it? So, when you're done doing that, come to acceptance of what is, and then just say, okay, what's the most rational and moral thing I can do? And then do that. Because, develop skills. Be useful to others, and, you know, and useful to yourself. That's something that's entirely within your control. So just do that.
All right, let's hit food production. How valuable is that going to be?
Everything. Because
everything?
Because if you don't have that, you don't got nothing else going either.
Okay.
You're not going to be doing any kind of training if you're hungry. Because if you don't have food growing, you're growing and stacked back, you're going to be spending all your time trying to get food. And if you're probably going to fall into that lower quadrant of doing immoral things but for rational reasons because you're hungry, right?
Right.
And that's not good because that's not the best quadrant to be in.
So be proactive, maybe coming up here this spring.
Some would even say that's in the immoral and irrational quadrant instead.
Why?
That definitely an argument could definitely be made for that.
For what reason?
Well, because you should have known you were going to end up in that situation. You should have known you should have food growing. You should have known you should have food put away.
Personal accountability.
Personal responsibility. Like, so that you don't end up in a situation where you have to take from others, right? So, and if you had done that, you wouldn't be in that situation. And you'd be able to stay in that correct quadrant of most rational and most moral. Because you already have food set back. You already got more food growing. You're good to go. If you don't have that, then you're not going to be training on other, cool guy stuff or any of that.
Yeah, I mean, people I've heard call themselves, well, they can label themselves what they want, but essentially, Jesus is coming back. I'm not going to prepare. I'll be just fine.
Yep, supernatural Superman to the rescue. Bring in Hercules, Thor, Jesus, or whoever.
It's true, though.
Just going to swoop in and...
It's like, no, you're just being lazy.
Rescue me
Even
out
if it's
at the last
not for you, it should be for somebody else. And if you're a real believer, you know, you should at least have that.
Yeah, that's right. He slept through the Holocaust, but he's going to come for your dumbass when you didn't prepare. Yeah.
Sounds about right,
that
don't
sounds
it?
right.
Just get on the train. We will give you everything you need.
Yeah, he's going to sleep through that, but don't worry, he'll be there for your dumbass.
Whew.
I don't think so.
Talk about spicy on a cold day.
I mean, I wouldn't count on it.
All right. So what advice would you give here to wrap this one up?
Expect a self-rescue. No one is coming.
Truth. That is true.
Like my patch says, expect self-rescue.
And if you see us there, you better be friendly.
If someone does come, you can be pleasantly surprised, but I wouldn't count on it. It's not a plan.
It's not a plan. At least not to what they're going with. Thank you, sir, for the wisdom. I'm sure somebody can use it.
Well, I'm sure somebody out there is like, I've already heard all this shit before. But if you haven't, here it is to reinforce it in your neural network once more.
There we go. Get out. Do the things.